I know you don't run the Instagram sites anymore. I only briefly want to talk about them, but you were temporarily running two Instagram sites. One that was primarily talking about issues in the tattoo industry or issues that you saw that you had as an artist, and then you're running one for tips for tattoo collectors, which is super helpful to give advice for people looking to get tattooed.
Yep.
You ran them for some time. Why did you stop running them? I can imagine there was a lot of work to run them. Were you getting backlash from artists?
No.
On the topic of the tattoo industries one?
No, so I did, actually my page became, it was like I said, it was initially I'd started talking about my travels cross country. I had wiped off my whole page and started from like zero, and then talked about like I navigated my journey. Then that became it was kind of like things you may not have learned in your apprenticeship, I think is what I had ended up titling it. Because there was a group of there seemed to be like this disconnect between like the younger generation and the older generation of tattooing. It seemed like there was this disconnect that was happening. And I was noticing like a lot of like young artists weren't getting quality apprenticeships. They were kind of just being apprenticed by apprentices, or they were being apprentices by factory shops that wanted to get out as many tattooers as possible. And so I was like, I'm just going to write stuff. I never will talk about tattoo, equipment. I don't talk hot at the technical aspects. I think sometimes we need to leave some of the fucking magic in the bag. So I never talk about the technical aspects of tattooing, but I was talking about what you should have learned during your apprenticeship, and maybe apprenticeships should be a certain way, and why they are a certain way, and have been done a certain way. Or it was just my viewpoint on stuff I had seen through 25 years of tattooing that I thought some younger people could read. But then it was all things about balancing my life as an artist, and some of the downfalls I had, not letting, when I let ego get in the way, and how that fucked up my career, because it's cool to think you're on top, but you can just as quickly be on the bottom. So I just was trying to be honest with people, and it was doing really good. It was touching. I was writing a lot. I would get up every morning and release a new write-up. I would have a topic, and I would release the topic. And so I was doing that for a while, and I was putting that out pretty religiously, and that was catching on really good. That's what had gotten me invited to these seminars, these educational things. I'd been asked to come write some, basically create content for some magazine stuff that I decided not to do. Because I didn't want it to be, I did it because I was enjoying the process of it. I didn't want it to be a job, that it became something I was forced to do, and the material got watered down and old. So I did that, and then I started up a second page because I was hearing tattoo artists complain about clients. And my big thing is I'm big on education. And what I don't like is right now we're in this state where we have the easiest access to education ever, but people don't want to learn, nobody's learning. It's they're using it for different purposes, but you have all this access to information. It's the greatest time in history for information. It's like having that Library of Alexandria at your fingertips, but you don't want to go to the library. Mm-hmm. And so you have all these artists that have access to all these other artists and all knowledge that nobody ever gave out before. We used to have to dig for 25 years ago. You're being handed, and some people don't want to look for the information. But also, people are bitching about people being uneducated, and rather than taking the time to educate them, it's just easier to bitch about it. Fuck, these stupid people don't know anything. And so I got sick of all the fucking let's complain about our clientele memes, because there was just too many of these goddamn memes where it's tattoo artists want to fucking talk about how shitty all their clients are and putting them all on blast, through social media. And to me, it got it was so ridiculous. This is what you're gonna just keep whining about your client. Why not tell them how to be a better client? And so I started writing another page that was advice for the collector, and it was just simple things like, you know,
how to find the right
artist,
how to
like,
book
you know,
appointments.
yeah. And it was just very, yeah, how like what you could expect within booking an appointment, or, you know, what you might expect in trying to figure out pricing, or even stuff like what you might want to wear to your appointment. Like if you're getting your thigh done, maybe you don't want to wear no underwear and a pair of like tight pants, you know, like, and so it was like stuff like that. And I tried to keep it informational. It just, after a while, like I put all the information out, and then it
becomes like a full-time job.
It became another job. Yeah, because now I'm writing those articles, I'm writing these other articles, I'm painting, I'm tattooing, I'm, you know, trying to get my life back in order from all my journeys and stuff. And I'm like, dude, there's a lot that I'm carrying. So the writing I pulled back on. The handling client stuff I pulled back on, just because that wasn't really ever a first interest. That was more of like I'm just going to put, and I just put out a bunch of information, and I just left the site, the Instagram page there. You can't even remember the name of it anymore. And I just walked away from that one. And then, because I also kind of expected like tattoo artists would find the information useful and they would pass it on. And instead they just kept posting memes. And here I am, I've got like, you know, thousands upon thousands of people telling me how great this stuff is, and then they'll post another meme about how shitty their client is. And I'm like, why didn't you share that write-up that I gave you that explains that part of the process you're making fun of them for, but instead you're going to go back to whining, because that's like a thing to do.
Fun at them.
Yeah, and poking fun at them, and then making them feel shitty about the fact that they don't know any better, you know, like... So there was a lot of frustration sometimes with the tattoo community in that, because they love to whine about stuff, but they don't want to fix stuff very often, you know, or they'll wait till it's, you know, I'm just generalizing, but it's not too far off, that there's a lot of like complaining without action.
So one of the things that you're going to be publishing soon are podcasts and a book.
So the material that I had put into. I'd been putting the material out. It seemed to have gained traction with certain artists, found it very useful. Like, I had been finding myself being like a Dear Abby.
Yep.
Like, I became like Dear Gunnar. And a lot of young artists and stuff had been, or even older artists who were going through like, you know, hey man, I'm 20 years into my career, and this is like where I'm at, and do you have any advice? So I basically started like trying to sit down and put together this information that I was thinking, and it's really just my thoughts on tattooing. It's not like, you know, therapy, or, you know, like, it's not anything. It's just me, the shit I think about and how I dealt with it in my head, and I put it down on pages. But I've been working on that, and then I'm getting ready to I'm in the process of recording my first season of podcasts that'll kind of address the same thing. So the idea is to just put out like educational material on like, some of it's kind of the spiritual walk of like being, like what it's like being an artist, and some of the shit that I found was helpful in like getting through the tougher times, you know, because not everything's like a high, you know, and getting through the lows. I kind of talk about the fact that like with winter coming, like a lot of tattoo artists a lot of artists in general suffer seasonal depression pretty strong. So I wanted to put something out that by winter time had some encouragement in there to keep people kind of like just pushing through for the winter. So most of the podcast is going to be like, it's also just a lot of my thoughts, but it's my thoughts on like art and tattooing and the lifestyle, you know, just life in general. And then in the future, I want to kind of break into interviews and stuff and get people's perspectives that like differ from mine, and see how they handle the same, you know, how would you handle this situation and stuff. But the first season is basically going to be my thoughts on my career and some of the ups and downs of it, and some of the journeys I've taken and what I've learned, and yeah. So basically, that's it.
You have a name for it yet?
Yeah. So it's
so people can be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, it's called the value scale. So I thought the idea that the value scale, you know, that as an artist, that we deal with the value scale. It's it's not just the black and white, but the gray that creates form. So I thought that was kind of neat, but also like I talk about things that we should be valuing more so than some of the stuff we do value. I just like the idea that I get to kind of talk about some of the gray areas because we talk so like black and white nowadays. I wanted to like kind of get into this like gray area a little bit more and be able to talk on topics of that. So
I like the name a lot.
Thank you.
It fits very properly.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be kind of neat. So
I'm gonna let you go here, and I know we've been talking for a while, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk
dude,
with us.
thank you. It's been awesome getting to watch you guys keep this tattoo snob going for so long. So I appreciate this.
So, if you could give advice to a 18-year-old gunner, maybe a 20-year-old gunner, or just young tattoo artists in general, from veteran tattoo artists, what advice would you give to them?
Start your financial planning right now.
Yeah.
There's no retirement plan for tattoo artists. So if you're not thinking about like, get a financial advisor. Like this is my strongest advice because now that I'm coming to my 40s and I don't have like, there's no retirement plan in order. I didn't do some of the things maybe I should have done 20 years ago. Always my first advice is sit down with a financial advisor, set up a financial plan. Like you should be investing in your future because although you don't understand that these times are like that 20 years comes faster than you think. And in 20 years, you want to be ready to get through the next 20 years. And if you can't tattoo, you still, like, it's funny to me because artists love this idea of being broke. And it's still like, man, you still are going to want to buy prom dresses for your daughters. Or you still going to want to send them to college. Or you might want to go on vacation and take some time off from tattooing and travel the country. Like, there's going to be things that you're going to want to have some security on. Or if tattooing dries up, you're going to want to have like some money set aside to take care of yourself. But you're also going to want a financial plan in order and take care of your body because I watch a lot of people who are in like really rough shape 20 years into their career. And if you're not, you're eating the donuts and the drinking snacks and, energy beverages all day long while sitting in these awkward positions, it'll take a toll on you.
Yeah, definitely for the financial information, incremental or small investments over the course of years.
Mm-hmm.
The compound interest is incredibly important to help your money grow.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people like a quick book to pick up is the Richest Man in Babylon. And I'm not going to be able to remember the name of the author, but you can even listen to an audio version of it on YouTube, The Richest Man in Babylon. And find someone smarter than you to help you invest it. And, it's just, they're easy things and it's told in a storybook format that I try to even get my kids to listen to because it's simple, fundamental, financial information for you to at least begin to have a grasp on what that looks like.
That I know you are a big fan of too is the Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art.
Oh, The War of Art. Yeah, that's a huge one. Yeah, conquering that procrastinations and
getting shit done. Actually,
yeah,
I know you're a big fan of that book. I saw you post about it a while ago, and
that's usually that. The Richest Man in Babylon and The Alchemist are my I feel like everybody should read, at least most artists should read, because The Alchemist is all about having a dream and pressing forward to doing it. And if you're a professional artist, you're chasing a dream. It really, it's a dream. It's a dreamer's job. So
what's your ratio between painting and tattooing now? I mean, what do you typically work on? I see a lot of paintings that you're working on a lot of different paintings at once. Yeah,
so I just moved back to Ohio, so I'm rebuilding clientele. So that's not as big as I would like it to currently be. So I'm probably only tattooing maybe 2 to 3 days a week tops right now, and then I paint just about every other day. So and I'm probably painting in those nights that I work. So right now it's probably like a 70-30 split. So
if anybody's interested in getting tattooed by you or buying your paintings, what's the best way to contact you?
I honestly am one of those people that allow people to DM me through Instagram because I like being accessible to people. So that's a good Art of Gunnar, at Art of Gunnar on Instagram. or emails is artofgunner@gmail.com. So that's about it. Yeah. Art of Gunnar.
Art of Gunnar.
That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us. I know we've known each other for years.
Yeah, quite a while.
You've always been one of my favorite artists to run into. You've always been incredibly nice to me, and I love the pieces that I have from you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah. So thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with us, and hope you enjoy the rest of the Richmond show.
Thank you. You have a good one, man.